Now R. Kelly is back in the news again. Now, remember last week when R. Kelly was in the news when he said that he said that the federal government was plotting to unalive him, and there was a W supremacist that came to him to let him know that he was hired by prison officials to take him out. Now we know that R. Kelly's catalog is worth millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars. He's written songs, people all over the world. He has some of the most world-renowned songs. He's iconic, but we also know that he has some issues, right? But now he's claiming that he was given drugs in jail, a high amount where he overdosed, and he was rushed to the hospital, right? So let's get off into this. Feds claim R. Kelly's deeply unserious murder plot claim. Singer's lawyers say he was hospitalized. So it says Feds slam R. Kelly's deeply unserious murder plot claim. Singer's lawyer says he was hospitalized, right? He's not due freedom until 2045. R. Kelly's claim that he's the target of a prison murder plot is fanciful, deeply unserious. It makes a mockery of the harm suffered by victims of a former R&B star who turned out to be a prolific child blank. Federal prosecutors argued Monday. They also said Kelly's bid for temporary release to home detention is repugnant. But several hours later, R. Kelly's attorneys fired back with new claims that he'd been given a life-threatening overdose of his medication by prison officials, then later removed by them from a hospital against the doctor's advice. The lawyers' back and forth comes days before a judge is expected to rule on whether she even has jurisdiction over the controversy. Man, this thing is crazy. Unfortunately, no court has the ability to enter an order freeing Kelly's victims from the prison that Kelly put them in. Assistant U.S. Attorney Jason Julian wrote Monday. Julian made his comments in a 19-page brief that amounted to the most substantive response so far to Kelly's extraordinary allegations. The imprisoned singer is also appealing to President Donald Trump for help, not due for freedom until December 2045. Kelly's claims that the prison official enlisted a leader of the Aryan Brotherhood to assassinate him to prevent the release of damaging information apparently obtained by the singer's attorneys. Kelly asked U.S. District Judge Martha Pacold in Chicago to release him temporarily to home detention. The judge has scheduled a hearing on Friday, but rather than focusing on the merits of Kelly's claim, the judge seems to focus on whether she is even the appropriate authority to handle the matter. Julian insisted in his file on Monday that she does not have jurisdiction. Imagine a scenario where any and every incarcerated criminal could go back to the criminal courts that imposed a sentence of imprisonment upon them, allege that they fear imminent harm, and demand to be released from custody while the matter was investigated, Julian wrote. Every convicted murderer, blank, and terrorist will have a newfound shot at freedom. The prosecutor also said in his filing that Kelly is a serial blank, whose criminal abuse of children dates back to at least President Clinton's first term in office, decades before Kelly was taken into federal custody. So the prosecution is fighting back. Man, Kelly has never taken responsibility for his years of blank with children, and he possibly never will, Julian wrote. The singer's lawyer said last week that Kelly had been moved to solitary confinement after their initial filing, and they wrote that he stopped eating the food offered. He stopped eating the food offered to him out of fear that it had been poisoned. Late Monday, attorney Brindley also alleged that Kelly was taken to Duke University Hospital early Friday morning after feeling faint and dizzy and seeing black spots. That was after Kelly took medication as directed by prison officials, the lawyer wrote. At the hospital, Kelly was told he'd been given an overdose, Brindley said. Hospital staff also found blood clots in his lungs and legs. God, man. And they planned to hold the singer for surgery, according to the lawyer. But Brindley said prison officials intervened, removed Kelly, and took him back to solitary confinement. Early Monday, Julian argued that Kelly's placement in solitary confinement shows officials are receptive to Kelly's concern and interested in keeping Kelly safe. Kelly, 58, is being held in a medium security prison in Bunter, North Carolina, record show. He's serving a 30-year sentence there for his 2021 racketeering and ex-crime conviction in New York. The singer is also serving a mostly simultaneously 20-year sentence for his 2022 blank conviction in Chicago, blank pornography conviction in Chicago. So they're basically coming after this guy, man. You know, he's in serious trouble. Now, my situation with R. Kelly is I can't get past that 2002 or 2001 video we saw when he was with that underage girl. Right now, I know that his brother said some things about him, but then he also came back and recanted them statements and said that he said some things because he was jealous and he was mad at his brother. So it's just a whole bunch of stuff. Now, I know the industry is full of crap. I know the industry is the Babylon system. That's for sure I know. We know that these executives always groomed, for generations, groomed artists with all kinds of drugs like heroin, cocaine, and all kinds of things. We know that these executives groom women. A lot of these young men, they did a whole bunch of different things. We also know that these executives has been responsible for allegedly responsible for unaliving a lot of artists, right? When you deal with Clive Davis, right? Clive Davis had a lot of people up under his wing that's unalive. Nobody says anything. Whitney Houston, she was unalive in a hotel room upstairs while they was having a party, right? Phyllis Hyman, right? All these people was up under him, right? Aaliyah. I mean, I can go on and on and on and on and on, right? People like Leora Cohen and them, they don't come up, they don't get mentioned, right? So many Ted Aveen. So how can all these black artists and these black executives be coming under fire for all of this? But these guys, these dudes that's responsible for actually running the label and signing these black executives. Been in the game 30, 40 years. They don't have no trouble. Come on, man. Who you think you fooling? Who you think you talking to? We know this, but again, R. Kelly's catalog is worth a lot of money. It's worth a lot of money, and I know that either I don't know if he's still in control of it or they in control of it, but he's probably worth more money to them no longer here than he is than he is here. Rotting away in a prison, right? We know Michael Jackson is gone. We know Prince is gone. We know Rick James is gone. We know James Brown is gone. So many of them is gone, but do their families own the catalogs? Absolutely not. So y'all gotta let me know what y'all think about this, man. You know, like I said, that 2002 tape, I can't get past that, and I stand on principle. When it comes to that, you already know what I said the punishment is when it comes to him. But I also know that the industry is the Babylon system as well. So let me know what you guys think about this, right? Hit that like button, subscribe to Street Media TV. Leave your comments in the comments section. And remember, I love y'all. Till the next time. Peace.